Susanna and Cecilia. The story of the king's two wives.
Once upon a time, there lived a very wealthy king who married two wives,
The first wife was humble, hard-working.
and kind although she was not beautiful.
The second was beautiful, but also conceited, arrogant, and evil. As soon as she entered the palace, all the harmony and understanding that used to exist between the king and his first wife ceased. Thanks to the love potions she gave him, the king doted on his second wife, while the first was now hated and despised. She was driven away from the palace and forced to live in a little mud house of one room and a kitchen.
Built in a neglected corner near the palace gate,
The second wife, Susanna, owned everything in the palace,
where every one of its many servants
waited on her slightest whim, even picking up the pins she dropped though they fell right at her feet. The neglected wife, Cecilia, had nothing and no one at all,
Yet Cecilia continued to obey her husband.
whom she feared and worshipped as a god, even though he no longer cared for her,
She did menial jobs in the palace, and when it was time for planting yams,
upon which the king's wealth depended.
she worked and worked without hoping to be praised or rewarded. Meanwhile, Susanna sat still and commanded the servants to carry.
Plant, cook, and serve food. There was, however,
One thing that made Cecilia even more unhappy than the ill treatment received.
she had no child.
But how could this happen now that she no longer even saw her husband? She longed for a child so much that she wept bitterly each time she prayed. Night and day she prayed that she might get one.
Yet, faithful as she was, she never so much as thought of looking for another man. In the village, a magician lived who knew
Through his special powers,
all about Susanna and her problems.
one day he came to visit her, and although did not know him, Cecilia received him hospitably.
Much to her surprise, the magician told her
All he knew and advised her to go to the child giver, a witch who lived at the junction of 7 broad roads, all of which led to the land of the spirits. Cecilia thanked him, and early the following morning
she set off to find the witch. Watch out for part 2.